a box containing dice, wooden tokens, and small cards. How do these small puzzle pieces capture the grand history of Himeji Castle, a massive fortress from Japan's Edo period? The board game, The White Castle, is more than just a diversion. It's a living simulation that lets you experience the strict social hierarchy and intense lord-vassal relationships of the era. This video will offer a deep analysis of how Himeji Castle metaphorically implements the complex social dynamics of Japanese feudal society through its game mechanics. What do the 9 limited turns symbolize? What roles did the courtiers, warriors, and gardeners play in real history? This video will be your guide to answering those questions. Himeji Castle, located in Hyogo Prefecture, Japan, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a national treasure, renowned for preserving the peak style and structure of Japanese castle architecture. The main keep is nicknamed Hakorojo, or White Heron Castle, because its elegant shape resembles a white heron spreading its wings. The entire exterior is finished with white plaster, which had the practical purpose of preventing fire in addition to its aesthetic appeal, symbolizing both the beauty and robustness of the castle. The castle's history began during the Sengoku period, built by the Akamatsu clan. It later became a base for Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and during the Edo shogunate, it functioned as a key defensive stronghold for the Tokugawa shogunate and the center of the Himeji domain. The game's setting is explicitly the Edo period, which is a crucial clue that goes beyond a mere visual theme, helping to explain the game's core mechanics in line with historical facts. Interestingly, the main actions in the game are not direct military conflicts or battles, but peaceful activities like managing the castle, tending gardens, and rising in social status. This can be interpreted as a reflection of how Himeji Castle's character changed. While originally a military fortress, it evolved during the long period of peace in the Edo era. With the end of war, the role of the samurai shifted from a warrior class to administrators, which sometimes led to a decline in their power. Therefore, the game is themed not on the fortress of the Sengoku period, but on Himeji Castle as an administrative and political hub during a peaceful time, where fierce internal competition was the norm. The game's mechanics symbolically represent the invisible struggles of this era, the pursuit of social advancement and influence. This historical context is deeply embedded in the core design philosophy of the White Castle. The game is very short, consisting of only 3 rounds and a total of 9 turns. Each turn, players choose a die and either pay or receive money based on its value. Despite using dice, a symbol of randomness in many games, the White Castle masterfully eliminates the element of luck. At the start of each round, dice are rolled and arranged on a bridge, but you don't get to choose just any of them. Your choice is limited to the dice at the very ends of the bridge. This seemingly simple rule transforms the dice from a source of luck into a shared pool of limited and contested resources. The strategic depth comes not from the roll itself, but from the clever choice you make, anticipating what your opponents might need and how your move will shift the entire dynamic of the game. However, choosing a low-value die grants a bonus called a lantern action. This reflects the social changes of the Edo period, where lower classes, despite facing economic hardship, could accumulate opportunities in other ways to gain long-term advantages. This mechanic captures the historical fact that with peace and economic growth, the merchant class rose to prominence and the authority of the samurai class waned. In short, the game's short turns and dice mechanics are a profound device that compactly shows the lives of people in the Edo period, who had to build their own paths to success within the fated constraints of a feudal society. But let's dive into the core mechanics that truly make this game special. The White Castle has a unique mechanism of using dice as workers. Players can only choose the dice at either end of the bridge, the highest or lowest value. This mechanic is a variation of the rondel system from the previous game, the Red Cathedral, which limits a player's choice, creating an intense mind game between players. This bridge and dice selection system goes beyond a simple game rule. It visually shows how opportunities were shared and competed for in feudal society. When a player selects a die, the other dice on the bridge slide down one space, changing the next player's options. This dice slide symbolizes how a limited favor from a feudal lord would sequentially pass to the next person. If one player seizes a good opportunity, the next player might be put at a disadvantage. This beautifully represents the relationship among retainers under a feudal lord, where both cooperation and competition existed. Players must not only find their optimal move, but also anticipate and counter the next turn of other players, creating a layer of strategic depth. The game's main resources are food, iron, mother of pearl, and coins, which are used to place courtiers, warriors, and gardeners from a player's personal estate onto the main board. Each role offers different actions and scoring paths. Notably, the score formula for warriors in the training ground is calculated as the value of warriors in the training ground multiplied by the number of courtiers in the castle. This scoring link between warriors and courtiers is one of the game's most subtle and important historical details. Traditionally, the value of a samurai was in their military skill and valor. However, during the long peace of the Edo period, the value of the samurai class was no longer based solely on sword skills or military merit on the battlefield. Their power and influence were determined by how many political connections and support they secured within the daimyo's court. The game's score formula is a beautiful design choice that subtly reflects the social change of the Edo period, where warriors were no longer judged by battlefield achievements, but where their political and administrative roles became crucial. The way the game handles its characters is another fascinating intersection of history and gameplay. The three core character components, courtiers, warriors, and gardeners, are not just game pieces. They are metaphorical reflections of the real-life classes and roles of the Edo period. The courtier. In the game, they are placed in a player's personal estate to acquire resources and trigger lantern actions. This role was part of the samurai class that assisted the daimyo, performing administrative and political functions. Their activities were essential for maintaining the daimyo's power and solidifying lord-vassal relationships within the clan. Their role as an engine that enables resource collection and extra actions in the game shows their practical importance in operating feudal society. The warrior. They are placed in the training ground and are central to the scoring formula. Historically, they were the highest-ranking samurai, who also held administrative positions in addition to their military duties. The game's scoring, where a warrior's value is multiplied by the number of courtiers in the castle, accurately reflects the historical reality of the peaceful era, where the power of warriors was determined by political influence. The gardener. They are placed in the garden and provide various card effects and scores. Historically, gardeners were of a lower social status than samurai, but in the Edo period, gardens were a crucial area of art and culture, and gardeners were treated as skilled artisans, not just laborers. This aligns with the game's strategic value, where gardeners can create combo plays to achieve high scores. Beyond the mechanics, the very design of Himeji Castle speaks volumes. The round marker in the game, the Shachihoko, is a legendary creature that was used to adorn the roofs of Japanese castles. This mythical beast was said to spew water to extinguish fires, serving as a guardian deity to protect the building. The fact that the game ends in just 3 rounds emphasizes that players have a limited number of opportunities and that every single turn is crucial. The game's short play time and the Shachihoko marker are a metaphor for the instability of feudal society, where an unexpected disaster could strike at any time. The Shachihoko symbolizes the player's role in protecting their clan from such social and political fires. The game may deal with a peaceful theme on the surface, but beneath it lies the fierce reality of feudal society, where one had to stake everything in a limited amount of time. The White Castle is praised for its cute and charming components, as well as for packing a lot of gameplay into a small box. This continues the design philosophy of the designers of the Red Cathedral, which focuses on core strategy without unnecessary complexity or extravagance. This compact design can be interpreted as a reflection of the Edo period's frugality spirit. Kenyaku, or frugality, was one of the samurai class's ethics, emphasizing practicality and efficiency over waste. The minimalist, yet deep gameplay of the White Castle goes beyond a mere cost-saving measure. It seems to incorporate the cultural values of frugality and efficiency into the game's design philosophy. This is evidence that the game is a form of cultural representation, not just a simple diversion. The balance of strategy provided by the game symbolically represents the dynamism of the Edo period, where individuals could pursue social advancement through effort despite the fated factor of their birth. The game constantly asks players whether they will succumb to fate or forge their own path by crafting the best strategy under the given conditions. In conclusion, the White Castle is not just a dice worker placement game, but a historical simulation that condenses and reproduces the complex and subtle social dynamics of Edo period Japan. The game perfectly metaphorizes the architecture and role of Himeji Castle, the strict class system, and the lives of each class using the minimalist devices of dice, 9 turns, and role-specific components. Even after the game ends, the traces left by the dice and the arrangement of resources make you feel the weight of the choices and dilemmas that people in the Edo period faced. The White Castle is a masterful work that goes beyond mere play, prompting us to explore history more deeply. Through this game, you might become the daimyo of Himeji Castle, or you might become an anonymous individual who lived fiercely within its walls.